It's a people, it's a community, it's a life, it's a heart, it's a spirit.
That's my question. The heck would you want a picture of a tattoo of $1,000 on your penis for?
What makes this book so relevant, even though it was written over 100 years ago, is that it's about terrorism.
The work, sex, cars, bars, broads.
And with children, it's building on what they have. They have great imagination.
Dementia is not a diagnosis. It's a set of symptoms.
And he kept explaining to me that I wasn't gay. You cannot be gay. You just cannot.
The main thing is to be open and honest and be, true to yourself.
You are watching Talking About, and our topic tonight is addiction and recovery. My guest is Arnie Razumny of Samaratin Village, and we do have a call on the line. Neil, whenever you're ready, just say hello. Neil?
Hello?
Hi, Neil.
Hey, how you doing?
Hi, Neil.
Hi, Arnie. How you doing?
Good.
Hold on for a second. In the room. In the room. In the room now.
Okay. The benefits of live TV.
Yeah. The question is this, right? Arnie, first of all, I want to thank you guys for even having this on television. It's very rare that you even find this out there. And I participated in Samaritan's outpatient services out in Jamaica at one point.
Okay.
Right now, my situation is this: I'm in a sober house, right?
Mm-hmm.
And okay. And the situation, I attend meetings regularly. I do a lot of meetings out in Southern Queens.
Mm-hmm.
And my sponsor suggested to me the other day that that I really need to start taking life, I guess, by the horns again, and stop more or less hiding out in the sober house.
Mm-hmm.
I don't come. I'm in a house where a lot of guys are hanging out for Section 8.
Mm-hmm.
The homeless situation is what it is,
mm-hmm.
and I came from working, paying bills, doing the right thing. I had put together 5.5 years, and making some bad choices out there, and I relapsed. And it's taken me almost a year and a half to kind of get back on track or get some clarity, so to speak. And the clarity's there, and honestly and truly, I really have been how they say mind your business.
Mm-hmm.
I've been minding my business. I wasn't trying to make any decisions on my own.
Mm-hmm.
And now the other day my sponsor says to me, "Well, Neil, I think it's time for you to go back to work and do what you got to do." I'm going to be attending LaGuardia Community College in March.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be an EMT. I want to help save some lives. And so I got all my stuff, pretty much financial aid stuff, squared away and all that. You know what I mean? So things are happening, but there is such a fear of screwing this thing up again,
yep.
man, that it's sometimes, it just really, really, really terrifies me, man, to the point where I'm almost so afraid to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But I know that I have to get back into the business of living again because it's
mm-hmm.
life on life's terms.
Right.
So, how, I guess my question is basically, how, is it just like Nike, just do it? Or is it, is there should I graduate? Because my thing was well, maybe I should just gradually try to work my way back in.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm currently in a place called, the place is Enterline. I don't know if you ever heard of it, Arnie, or not, but it's kind of it's really a house type of situation. It's
mm-hmm.
really not geared towards a re-entry phase
mm-hmm.
and all that kind of stuff. It's you're here, and then once your time is up here, it's time to go.
Yeah.
And if you don't have your living situation squared away, it's time to go.
Okay.
Oh well, So he tells me to go ahead, go back to work, and then I'm well, I want to go to school because
mm-hmm.
I don't have to work right now because the PA thing, da da da. And he's well, everybody else in the world works and goes to school. You
mm-hmm.
know what I mean? So why not you?
How old are you?
I'm 33.
Okay.
And I just don't want to mess up anymore, man. You know what I mean?
Nobody does. But you also know that this is a bridge back to life.
Right.
You can't stay stuck at the toll gate. You got to cross the bridge.
Mm-hmm.
And you had how many years clean?
5.5.
You had 5.5 years clean.
3. Well, let me be clear about the 5.5. 3 of them were in prison. I stopped. I mean,
there's as much drugs in prison, my friend, as there are in the street. And you know that.
Yeah. So.
You had 5 years clean. You've got back 1.5 years now, right?
No, I'm working on 90 days now.
Oh, now you're working on 90 days.
Yeah, I just made 60 days the 5th.
Well, 5 years clean, they can't take anything away from you. You have the knowledge and understanding of what a clean life is.
Mm-hmm.
You have good plans to go back to LaGuardia College and get yourself a career.
Let me tell you the way we do it in Samaritan residentially. Many people have ideas of what their career should be, but they need to leave Samaritan. Nobody has a lifetime contract to live there.
Right.
So you need to be employed. You need to budget your money. You need to have a support group in place. You say you go to meetings.
Yeah, regularly.
What's your support group like?
We're pretty tight. We call each other regularly. You know, if 2 days go by, you know, the alarms go off on everybody's end. Like, where are you? What's going on?
Sounds pretty good to me.
How are you? All of that kind of stuff.
It definitely sounds pretty good to me that you have people who obviously care about you, you care about. I think it's time to take some of the advice of your sponsor and at least begin to put one foot in the water. You got to start looking for work, looking for work.
Well, I have a commercial driver's license.
Then get to
so,
what's stopping
getting a job is, 1, 2, 3. I can drive an ambulance tomorrow,
So what's the problem?
Fear.
Of,
I guess, being successful.
Well,
I don't know.
Those are
if I
issues.
knew, I would be calling you, man.
Those issues, they're valid issues.
Yeah. Also fear of screwing it up again,
But you can't live your life based on fear. You cannot do that. You're not living your life. Right. I ran the admissions department at Samaritan for 10 years. At 49 years old, I decided to change my career path. I was petrified to do it. I had people hold my hand and walk me through it because that's the kind of support I have in my life.
Right.
It sounds to me like you have that kind of support in your life. If people don't let you go for 2 days without a phone call, that's pretty damn good.
Yeah, they don't.
And if you're going to meetings consistently and you're sharing openly and honestly, there's plenty of people. Nobody's going to let you hit your knees. You may get weak in them, but they're not going to let you hit your knees. Don't live your life in fear because you're going to have too much time pass you by.
One more, and I'm going to. Okay. Somebody else wants to.
But really, I hope you're hearing what I'm saying.
I'm looking
it's
at
going to be
you.
okay.
I'm hearing you, man.
Okay.
Seriously, my face just. They gave you a close up, and now I'm getting closer to the teeth.
Uh-oh. Didn't scare you?
No.
Right.
But what about the time factor?
What about it?
Me not having. I thought maybe I should maybe have 6 months back first, or.
Time is an important factor. I'm not going to minimize its importance. But you also had a block of time under your belt.
Right.
That's like saying, if I go to a 4-year college and I don't use what I learned in there, you can't take my knowledge away.
Right.
Nobody can take away your experience, the internalized experience of what it's like to live clean. Mm-hmm. That's part of the reasons you tried it again. Part of the reasons you're back with 90 days is because inside you understand what it's like to live clean. Now you have that knowledge. You have 90 days under your belt.
Almost.
You have a sponsor. You have a support group. It's time to put a foot into the water. Time. Listen, I woke up at 6 this morning. If you woke up at 7, I'm 1 hour cleaner today than you are.
There you go, right.
You got it?
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Nobody knows if I walk out this door and I use.
Yeah.
But if you want to talk about time, my 15 years has given me experience. But today is all we have. So if you're clean today and I'm clean today, depends what time you got up, how much cleaner I am than you.
Thank you, man.
You got it, man.
All right, thanks for calling.
Thank you.
Is that a common factor? I'm afraid of success.
Fear?
I'm afraid of failure.
Without a doubt. But I think that's generic through most people's lives, not just recovering people. Fear. I'm not Tony Roberts, but if you hear about any of these self-help things, it's always telling you to face your fears, walk through your fears. And if anybody sits for a minute and thinks about something they were very afraid of and finally confronted and came out the other side of, you always engross these fears. They are just that. They're feelings. They're emotions. If you have the support you need and you have, the common sense to see red flags when they go up, you'll be fine.
Make the phone call, ask for help.
Ask for help. And you know what? Mistakes are just that. They're mistakes. A guy like Tony, wasn't on the phone, I believe. Tony on the phone. You got to realize you're not gonna do everything perfectly. There's one thing I've done perfectly for the last 15 years. No matter what happens today, I don't pick up. I don't complicate my life. No matter what happens. That's what's taught at Samaritan. So I think that anyone can face their fears if they lay a foundation of support, realize that they've faced fears before, and can move through them again. I think it's going to be fine.
Okay, and with that, we do have another caller. Albert?
Yes.
Hi, Albert.
Welcome to the show.
Well, thank you. Okay, now this is the thing, like, as far as like when you go to groups and recovery meetings, it seemed like I've seen a lot of things where people, it was like you were in a, what you call them, a drugstore, because a lot of guys with their horror stories and they'll sit back, and then some of the guys, hey, they was, you could get this here and you can get that there. And then it seemed like to me, it was a run with some drugs. It was killing people, and it's madness. Like one cat would sit back and say, where they got that at? And they would run, literally. They would break their recovery time up, they clean time, and then they'll run and then put themselves at risk of death behind you heard about this guy, they got this stuff. And, it's bad,
When you go to any of these groups or support programs, or in fact, if you come into an environment like Samaratin Village, I want you to understand you're dealing with people. The programs may be perfect in their structure, but the people are not. What you need to do, what anybody needs to do when they go to these Narcotics Anonymous, Alcoholics Anonymous meetings, or whatever support you get, whether it's Samaritan Village, residential or outpatient, remind yourself of the reason you're there. Not everyone is going to have the same motivation. Not everyone is going to be able to grasp the program and all its components at the same pace. But remember that this is an imperfect world with imperfect people, and they're trying. Sometimes their struggle doesn't look like yours. Focus on yourself, maintain a positive attitude, and understand that if you continue to do that consistently, you, in fact, may have an influence on them.
That sounds good.
Okay? You must make, if you are seeking to help yourself, the surrounding negativity can't bring you down. You must look at yourself as someone who may, if it's meant to be, bring people up around you. In any event, you maintain and stay the course.
Yes, that sounds good. Myself, as I say, New Year's, I just sat in the house. My daughters came into town, and I just sat and ate, and we watched movies and, talk,
What's better than that?
There's nothing better than that.
Did you wake up with a hangover the next day?
No.
Did you wake up with your money missing?
No.
No. Did you wake up with your daughters embarrassed about who you are?
No.
No. What's better than that?
Nothing.
Nothing. You had a great New Year's, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
That's right.
And then it seemed like everything that's happening now, as far as things that I've been trying to put myself forward to, it's happening. As I say, stay clean and you'll grow.
Let me tell you, part of my philosophy is, someone told me this, I didn't invent this. If you look at your recovery like a dot on the wall, and you focus on that dot, there's such a thing as periphery vision. You know the way you look at one thing and you can see other things coming in? If you maintain your focus on that dot on the wall, all of the rest of the life will come in for you. So you just keep your eye on your recovery, and everything else will happen for you.
Okay, where are you located?
We're at, that's a good question. I forgot. 13802 Queens Boulevard.
13802
Queens Boulevard in Briarwood. The admissions department number is 718-657-6195.
6195.
If my president is watching this, I probably won't be working there because I forgot the address.
No,
just kidding.
You're doing just fine.
Thank you. I'm going to tell him you said so.
All right, thank you, and God bless you.
Thank you. God bless.
You're a good man.
Thank you very much for calling.
All right, thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
That's a very positive result there, is living life.
Yeah, living life. I mean, this process of coming out of addiction, deciding you want help, and then seeking the help, it's not easy. You're surrounded by people whose motivations and desires are not the same as yours might be. My personal experience, even at Samaritan, was the fact that I was only one of 2 people to complete the program the year that I did it. And there were literally, dozens and dozens of people that came through my component in Samaritan. It was difficult. While the people were falling by the wayside and picking up and relapsing and not committing to doing things the way Samaritan's treatment program is laid out, I felt very much, separated from them. And it was only until the staff members told me, listen, keep your eye on what you're doing.
Hello.
Don't change for other people. I managed to successfully complete the program. And, I've managed to stay clean for 15 years. So it's really about, your motivation and commitment and consistency one day at a time. To be cliched, but it's the truth.
And do a lot of people fall by the wayside?
It's an insidious disease, the disease of addiction. It's hard to maintain your sobriety in a world where there are different temptations. However, if you do the things that are suggested to you, you can do it. I'm living proof of that. I've got myself a great support group. I live my life with integrity and dignity and with a desire to help other people that fulfills me. I think that if you listen to the suggestions, they work. If you choose to ignore them, you still may skate by, but it's much more difficult.
We have Ram on the phone. Ram?
Yes, hi.
Hi.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I think you're doing a terrific program.
Thank you very much.
And I think, programs like these are needed because from my community, my ethnic community, because of addiction problems, you had one man or a couple of people arrested for murder, people who were drinking. So, that's one side of it. So along with the addiction and with other problems like that, you have a foray of other problems. But all I got to say is thank you for a wonderful program.
You make a very good point. One of the reasons that I feel it's important to step into the spotlight and declare myself a recovering person, and my hope, as many other people will, is to change the perception and thereby changing the public's view of what addiction is, and to speak about the repercussions of addiction. It's not only about my destructive behavior towards myself. Addiction spreads throughout, its implications and impacts stretch throughout society. It appears through the money we pay in taxes. For every $7 for every $1 you spend on treatment, you save $7 in the correctional facilities, where there are people being housed that are suffering from a disease, and their actions cause them to either rob, steal, mug, whatever it is. Rather than incarcerate them and not rehabilitate them. Let's spend money on treatment to deal with the disease and have people come out productive members of society. You have medical impacts where emergency rooms are filled with people overdosing. The contraction of HIV, AIDS, hepatitis C, and the burden on all of us as taxpayers for that. If you take a look at if we look at addiction and look at the recovery process as being effective and the fact that treatment works, it will benefit all of us, whether we use drugs or not. And that's the reason I want to step into the light and say, listen, I'm a recovering person. You no longer have to pay for me in jail. I now pay taxes. I'm able to benefit my community. You don't have me in an emergency room overdosed. If I had children, they wouldn't have to go into foster care that you would pay for, let alone the fact that they would grow up without a parent. These are the repercussions that addiction causes, and the public, and more importantly, the politicians who are our financial planners, right? We give them money. We tell them our taxes. How do you want to spend our money? They're going to spend the money they want to. Well, if we tell them that, listen, treatment works, don't cut budgets for this, put money towards it, because you'll be saving money all over the place. I mean, if I had a financial planner that wanted to, not invest $1 in something that would reap me $7 of rewards, I'd fire them. But that's the case today. You know, correctional facilities, and they're looking to expand jail cells rather than treatment slots. Any addict that picks up a phone should get treatment on demand. You know, they shouldn't have to wait. That window of opportunity can close very quickly. And it's important to have treatment available when someone seeks it. The jails are filled with people, literally filled with people, who have been separated from their children, who are now involved in more criminal activity, and who are not being rehabilitated because they suffer from the disease of addiction. And, you know, I think your caller made an excellent point. The repercussions and ramifications stretch far and wide.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for calling.
Thanks.
Yes, thank you. So, that's a staggering number. I mean, 1 in 7.
Yeah, there are many more statistics that you know, I'm in the process of putting together a report on for public consumption, so that we can really understand. You know, people are tired really of hearing, I think, you know, and the feedback I get. People know about the homeless guy in the corner, the guy in the subway who asks for money, and they're tired of hearing about the ravages and the devastation of addiction. It's in their face all the time. Well, let me give you, and I'll put together some statistics about how much money you can save by treating addiction. How much, you know, less of a tax burden it would be if you treated the addict rather than incarcerate them. You know, these numbers are staggering. You know, the African American population is being decimated because, you know, there are so many people incarcerated. You look at Russell Simmons is picking up the gauntlet and saying, listen, we've got to do something to stop these wanton attacks on the African American community, because there is an addiction problem. It's not a criminal problem. It's about addiction. You don't need to jail people. You need to help them. 60 Minutes did a recent show on mandatory sentencing. These are not drug kingpins. These are people who had a specific amount of drugs and then get 12 to 15 years in jail, you know, for no reason. It's about, you know, making people's lives better, not worsening them. That's what the government should be involved in.
Okay. Making people's lives better. Let's see how we can help John. We have John on the line.
Hey, John.
John. Hi, my name is John.
Hi, John.
I wanted to just tell you, I've been working with addictions for quite a few years in a treatment center in New York City.
Mm-hmm.
And I heard you say that you thought that treatment was successful.
Mm-hmm.
Now, treatment is a viable option, and I think it is successful, but unfortunately, from where I'm sitting and from where I'm working, treatment seems to not work more times than it does. I'm not arguing that we shouldn't have treatment, because the alternative would be what? You know, it would be disaster.
I think you answered your own question.
Yeah, but the drain on the system and the number of successes is very small compared to the people that continually recycle themselves through the system.
That's true. I don't disagree with you in the fact that this is not necessarily a business, if you will, where the success rate is phenomenal, and I can sit here and tout success rates. What I can say, though, is there is no other option.
Right.
And the options that are available now are far worse, and that just because you're in the field,
yes,
so you know that this is an ongoing science, this treatment. If you go back, I don't know how long you're in the field, but if you go back a number of years ago, there was this draconian method of providing treatment where, the mythology, which it was not, but it's actually history, is we'd shave your head, we'd demean you, we would make you do all kinds of labor-intensive things that just would not address any kind of issues. We've changed since then as the information and as the data is collected onto what really works and what makes those, whether you decide they're few, and I don't think, if one person is cured from the life they were in and move on to a more productive life, I think that's fantastic. But if you look at what works, and assess that data, you skew treatment to meet that need. It's an ongoing science. You know, if I were to tell you 10 years ago that there was no genetic predisposition to addiction, I would have been right because nothing had been shown to do that. Now there's ongoing science to say there is possibly a genetic predisposition.
Well, there are a lot of studies that do show some, linkage, and the percentages of children who are addicted, it's greater in homes where there's addiction. Now, whether that's genetic or social learning, because those children are probably seeing their parents drink and use on a regular basis, so they think it's part of an everyday lifestyle.
Right.
So they follow that.
So let me ask you this. In those families, I have second and third generation family members coming into Samaritan, right?
Yes.
That doesn't mean that with this generation of person who comes in now, they won't break that cycle. I mean, it's important to continue the process so that we can move forward rather than not.
What would you say to help get people to reach out?
Yeah, I think what's really important is that I had 20 years of heroin addiction, and one of the reasons I was out there so long is because I didn't know where to go. I mean, it may seem strange in this day and age, but again, it was, 15 years ago when I finally came into treatment. You should know that there is help. I'll repeat again Samaritan's admissions department number. It's 718-657-6195. If you have a problem, if you want to get help, talk to somebody at Samaritan. If you know somebody, motivate them to call Samaritan. I think that the more people know there is help, the more they are likely to reach out and ask for it. We talked about fear earlier with one of your callers.
Right.
Don't be afraid. All the information is totally confidential. We're not here to hurt you. We're here to help you. Face the fear. There is life after addiction.
Okay, which is a good point to wrap up on. There'll be a toll-free number up during the closing credits, or there is more information on our website, which is www.talkingabout.info, I-N-F-O, or you can write to us at Box 20713, Floral Park, New York, 11002, and I answer everything. So with that, I thank you for joining me. It's been a great hour. We got a lot of good information out there, and I hope you'll come back sometime soon.
I would be happy to, and thank you for having me, and thank you for allowing me to talk to the people out there.
Thanks again. I'm Jon Griffith. You've been watching Talking About, and I will see you next time.
I am the mother of Matthew Shepard. He was my son, my friend, my confidant, my constant reminder of how good life can be. He was murdered in October 1998 because he was gay. And there was just something about him that just made people want to talk to him, want to share, want to be his friend. You measure a person's success by the friends they leave behind. And I think that was a great success.